So you go to lesson number 5, click on the link on your MacBook, and you should be watching this video on your iPad. And as always, make sure your initials are at the top. If they are not showing up at the top, make sure you log in. And select your Unity version, which should be the 2021 version, 2021.3, because there's other pages that have multiple versions. That way you make sure you're on the right page. So you're gonna be working with the Unity editor. You're gonna create a 3D project and a scene and 3D game objects. You're gonna identify each part of the Unity editor. You can scroll down, and here it says that by now you should have sampled the Unity editor. Maybe in a micro game, maybe playing with objects. You created a 3D object, so you can mark the step as completed. Awesome. So before you begin, you're going to prepare for your projects in this pathway. Take a little time to get comfortable using the Unity editor, which is what we're going to do now. So on step number 2, make sure you click on the link refer to explore the Unity editor, because that's what we're going to be doing today. Refer to explore the Unity editor. So click here. A new window will show up. Okay. Explore the Unity editor. Okay, so you're going to click where it says 2021.3 and make sure your initials are at the top. So now you're going to learn what the Unity editor is, and you're going to interact with it. Okay, so step number 1, this tutorial is for review and is going to teach you the essentials of the Unity editor. So I'm just summarizing each step so that way you can go faster. So you can watch my video and go faster, click the step as completed, or you can read the whole thing by yourself. You have that option. So introduction to the Unity editor. The default Unity editor layout is organized by windows. So here, if you click here, you're going to see the different names of each window. We have the hierarchy window, we have the toolbar, the scene view, the inspector window, and the project window. So if you click on your Unity, you should have created a project, right? You should have a cube here. So here is the hierarchy, here's the scene view, the inspector, the assets, packages, project. And if you click here, you can have the game view or the scene view. Okay. All right. Maybe it looks like a lot. Maybe it looks confusing. Over time, you're going to become very familiar with this, and don't feel intimidated if you do now. Okay. We're going to go step by step. Okay. So I'm going to close this window, and it says scene view and game view. In the center of the default Unity editor layout is the scene view. This is your interactive window. So essentially the scene view and the game view. Here, this is where you can see the objects and interact with the objects. The scene view. You have also the game view right here. The hierarchy window, this is where you see all the things in your projects. You can see the game objects. Like for example, the cube, that's a game object. And you can add more game objects up here. So right now, I just want you to take a look at it. Okay. We have the project window. This is where you can find all the files available. So here's the project. Here are all the scenes and packages of your window. Okay, so just take a look. We have the inspector window. This is where you find and configure detailed information. So basically you have your items here, and you see all these positions, the rotation, the scale. This is math. That's why it's important for you to be good in math, because you're going to be entering different values here, and you must use math to know where to position the objects, the gravity, all of those things. Okay, so just take a look. Don't touch anything at this point. We will do it later. And we also have the toolbar. Use the toolbar buttons to change your point of view in the scene and start and stop play mode. So here's the toolbar. you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different icons. Okay. Now you can mark step number 2 here as completed. Okay. Now review the editor layout options. You can use the layout menu in the toolbar to change the arrangement of the windows in the editor. There are several layouts provided, and you can save your own layouts. So the best layout for the editor depends on what you're doing and your own personal preferences. Okay, so we can look at the layout here. Let's see here, file. Yeah, window, layout. So you click on window and here are the layouts. So you can play with them. You can select the 2x3. So do that on your computer. Click on window, scroll down to layouts, hover over 2x3 and click on it. And you can see that it changes. So do that on your computer right now, so that way you can get familiar with the option. Okay. Now do it again and pick the 4 split. It changes everything. Huh? Okay. So now use the default version, because that's the one that we're going to be using. This is just so that you know that there's different ways to interact with the editor. Okay. Now you can mark the step as completed. Good job. Using scenes in your project. The projects in Unity Editor are organized into different scenes. Right now you only have one scene. In the project window, use the navigation panel or search bar to find the scenes folder. So here's where the scenes are. Look. Scenes. This is the project window. Under assets, you see scenes. We only have one. So for now, it's just for you to know where they are. Now you can mark step number 4 as completed. Awesome. So number 5, practice navigating the scene. When working in Unity Editor, navigating in the scene view is very, very important. So one way to think about navigating in the window is like operating a drone camera, like a drone. It lets you examine your game objects from any angle or any distance. So this is what we're going to do. Okay, so let's look at the basics. Pan. Select the hand tool in the toolbar and click and drag in the scene view to move your view. Okay, so you're going to do this. Look, you go to Unity. You're going to click on the hand. And you can click on the mouse so that you can move the screen. So right now, this is what you're going to do. You're going to click on the hand. You're going to use your mouse to move the screen around to the left, to the right. So you can pause this video and play around in your computer. So pause this video and play with that feature. Okay, so after you've done that for a while, we're going to move to the next step, which is zoom. Holding Alt in Windows or Option in the Mac OS, right click and drag in the scene view to zoom. So you're going to use the Option key to zoom. Okay, so if you are here, the Option key is between Control and Command, and you can use both of your fingers up and down to scroll on the scene view so that you can zoom in and zoom out. There we go. Just play around with it. You can pause this video so that you can practice. Excellent. So Option and both of your fingers to zoom in and zoom out. Okay. Orbit. Holding Option on the Mac, left click and drag to orbit around the current pivot point. This option is not available on 2D mode. So left click and drag to orbit around. So we're gonna try that. So again, Option So you're going to click and go left and right, and this little eye will show up, and you can orbit around. So you're going to click on an option, and you're going to go around. You can pause this video, and you can play around. Okay, so now focus. We're going to try focus. When a game object is selected, you're going to select F with your cursor in the scene view to focus your view on that game object. Okay, so focus, frame select. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to click on the object, like the cube, and then you're going to click on the key F. Well, let's say right here. And it will bring you to the front of your cube. So you have to click on the object and then click the key F, and it will bring you to the front. You can play multiple times with it. You can zoom out. You can click on it and then click F, and it brings you back, just in case you get lost. So you can pause this video and you can try. Excellent. Okay. Now the fly through mode. You can also fly through to navigate in the scene view by flying around in the first person, which is common in many games. To do this, click and hold the right mouse button and use the keys left, right, forward, and backward. Here it says WASD, but on the Mac it may not work, so just use the arrows to go up and down, left and right, and you can select and hold shift to move faster. So let's do that. So you're gonna click here and hold, click and hold, and you can see with the keys how you can move, zoom in, zoom out. So play around, that way you can gain some practice. Okay, and if you also click and hold the shift button and do it, you're gonna go even faster. So pause this video and play around with it until you get familiar with it. Excellent. All right, so review the tools. So effective use of the transform and scene navigation tools is very essential in Unity, because it helps you to position, to scale, and essentially to interact and move around everything that you want to manipulate and move. Okay. So the keyboard shortcuts for the toolbars correspond to the QWERTY keys at the top left of the standard keyboard. Using these keys, you can switch quickly between the tools and keep your mouse in the scene view. So this is what you're going to do. We have the hand tool, and this is going to be used to pan your view. So hand tool. This is the hand tool, right? The one that we were using before to move around, which is right here, the hand tool. We also have the move tool to select and change position. This is the tool right here. So you can move around the object left and right, up and down, and the red is to make it go farther or closer. So you can pause the video, click on the move tool, and then you can play around with it. Excellent. We also have the rotate tool to select and rotate, which is the one up here. So I just want you to see them right now, because we're going to practice with them in a little bit. Scale tool, which is the one below. Rect transform tool to scale in 2D, and the Y, the transform tool to move, scale, and rotate with one gizmo. So I'm just reading them right now, but don't worry about it. We're gonna practice with them. Okay. So if you are with me, mark this step as completed. Okay. So now you're going to practice your Unity editor skills. So one way to develop your confidence in the scene view is to practice. Just practice, practice, practice. So here it says try creating a cube primitive in a Unity project, and then try the moves below. Watch the videos to see how it's done. So when it says try creating a cube primitive in a Unity project, means that in Unity you go to game object and create a 3D cube. Game object and create a 3D cube. Okay. Use the move tool to move the cube, and it should move like this. So the move tool is this tool on the left. Okay, excellent. So here's the move tool, and move it. So try to play around with it. And you move it by clicking on the blue to move it in one direction. The red is to move it into a different direction, and the green is to move it up and down. So pause this video and play around with that. Thank you. So step number 2, use the rotate tool to rotate the cube. So you should do something like this. This is the rotate tool, as you can see, and you're gonna rotate the cube. So play around with it. It's right here, and rotate the cube. You can pause this video and you can see how the values over here in the inspector change as you rotate the cube. So play around with it, please. Pause the video and play around with it. Alright, number 3, use the scale tool to resize the cube. So it should look something like this. The scale one. You can make a rectangular, you can change the shape. Excellent. So you're gonna do this, you're gonna put it up here. I'm actually gonna get a little closer so you can see it. So play around with it until you get familiar, and you can pause this video to play around. Excellent. Number 4, use the transform tool to do any combination of move, rotate, and scale. Excellent. So as you can see, the transform tool will let you play with it more, like combine. As you can see, this is the icon, transform tool. So look for that right here. So you can move it around. You can make it bigger or smaller. You can pause this video and you can play with it. Okay. Now number 5, pan your view back and forth so the cube appears on the right and left sides of your screen. Kind of like that. And remember for these, so you do here, and you can play around with it. So you can click and use the keys. Excellent. All right, number 6, zoom your view in and out, keeping the cube in view. Excellent. So you can do that as well. And you can pause the video to practice. Zoom out of the cube and use the focus key to zoom back into it. So we're gonna get really far. You're gonna click on it and then you're gonna click on the F key. Excellent. So let's do that. I'm gonna go really far. I'm gonna click on it, and then I'm going to click on the key F. There we go. You do that as well and practice a few times until you feel more comfortable with Unity. Number 8, orbit the cube so that you can see all 6 sides. Okay, so orbit. So you're going to click here. You can go around. So you can see different sides of the cube. So try that. And then you can pause the video so that you can practice. Use fly through to move your point of view in any direction. Okay, so you can do that as well. And you can play around with it as much as you want. Okay, and if you did all of that, you can mark the step as completed. And then in this video, Unity creators have shared some of their best tips and tricks to help you develop your confidence in the editor. So you can watch the video. I'm gonna play.
Honestly, the best thing you can do is to start really small and just try and do something really, really simple. What I found really worked for me is when I became more confident in Unity, I started remaking old retro games because that was something I thought would be a bit of fun. So I first started by trying to do the basic controls of Pac-Man.
Part of using the editor is just learning what exists and taking advantage of it. But you can also customize a lot. So get comfortable customizing your workspace and making it work for you.
Even if I don't know what this button does or that button does, I'll learn eventually. I don't need to know all of this right now. I just need to know the specific parts I need to make my game, and I'm all set.
Excellent. All right, so now you can mark the step as completed. And you can mark all of the steps as completed. Congratulations on finishing this. Good job.